Toward the start of the film, we are acquainted with the hero, Jim. He lives in a museum on humans and has never been to the rest of the world. The museum is controlled by cyborgs to show how humans used to live before. Since humans are an imperiled species, Jim is the primary fascination of the museum. His apartment is tiny and comprises of just 3 rooms, a bedroom, a washroom, and a living room. There is a flight of stairs to reproduce the natural human surroundings, yet the steps turn into dead end. Like the phony windows and doors, the vast majority of the things in the house are props, with the exception of the television that Jim likes to watch consistently. In the initial, Jim is watching a television program that he knows each word to, as far as he might be concerned. The situation in the film is how humans interact in real life. The cyborgs purposely make him watch explicit shows so he would figure out how human males are expected to act around females. Jim is likewise gobbling up a bunch of cereals, inside which, he finds an interesting toy prize. Not thinking often about the wreck he makes, he enthusiastically hurries to the rack that he uses to present his cereal prizes. He puts the one he found on the top and watches it in interest. Obviously cereal are his ordinary dinner and he adores collecting the prizes. Collecting them and watching television are his main side interests. Consistently, a cyborg museum guide carries a group of tourist cyborgs to show them the gallery. They start by survey the everyday human devices area where toasters, traffic cones, toy trains, astro lights, and other ordinary things are shown. Obviously, the focal point of attention of the museum is Jim. The tourists watch him through a glass window in his condo. The aide presents him as the main human brought up in captivity. The cyborg historians have attempted to duplicate the territory that human used to live in, to make Jim's apartment. As the tourists watch Jim in his house, he offers them a go-ahead. He doesn't say anything negative about the strangers see his privacy since he doesn't think he is being held in captivity. Jim has consistently thought this is the way his life should be. The tourists notice and look at his ways of behaving and habits. He is a test subject of their experiment. When they are going to leave, a declaration urges them to get back to the museum to watch another expansion. A female human. Jim is exceptionally eager to hear this as he has just seen human girl on television. He is prepared to meet the girl of his dreams like he had consistently imagined while watching programs. The following day is a joyous one for Jim. He rises and shines early, cleans his teeth, and scrubs down. He likewise splashes himself with a lot of antiperspirant and dresses up in a decent suit to invite his new female friend. As he anxiously waits, a wonderful girl named Kaz is brought into the apartment. Before she says anything, Jim discusses discourse from his favorite movie. It is the to think it most way to welcome her, yet, Kaz goes crazy and starts going around the house searching for an exit. Since she was captured from the outside of the world, she realizes she is being held captive, but the doors and windows of Jim's apartment are fake to make it seem to be a real home, so she can't take off. Kaz goes to the bedroom to search for an exit, just to see a bed beautified with rose petals. Jim had a few plans prepared for her arrival. He hasn't advanced any social skills from the movies, however understands what sexual intercourse is. Kaz at long last sees the cyborgs watching them from the windows and hides behind a wall. Jim presents himself interestingly, causing Kaz to accept he is a human as well. She inquires as to whether he knows a method for getting out, yet Jim is befuddled with regards to why she would want to leave. He thinks that he has every one of the astounding things in the apartment, like an extendable sofa. Furthermore, the television with north of 5 channels on it. He even gets limitless free meal and caffeinated drinks consistently. Kaz is unamused by his adaptation of astonishing things. She cries and Jim attempts to console her with a rose. At supper time, Jim and Kaz plunk down to eat. Jim warms an artificial meal for her in an oven and starts eating. However, Kaz is nauseated by the smell of the food. Seeing Jim enjoying it, she asks whether he has ever been outside. When he doesn't reply, she requests that he smell the food, yet Jim actually doesn't get what she is attempting to prove. Kaz curses the cyborgs who are as yet noticing them like bacteria under the magnifying lens. She turns around to Jim and explains to him that no part of this is real. The food sources don't taste what they should suggest a flavor like. The stairs don't lead anyplace. Also, the front door doesn't open more than 4 inches. Jim pays attention to her grievances, happily, and says nothing. When she asks him for what valid reason the fake apartment doesn't annoy him, he yawns and says he is going to sleep. He energetically asks that Kaz go along with him in the bed, assuming she want to. Kaz withdraws away from him, inquiring as to why she would go to bed with him. Jim then proposes they engender, which makes Kaz freeze in shock. She proclaims that she could never proliferate with him and sends him to his room. Jim furiously discards every one of the flower petals from his bed and falls asleep while the cyborgs outside actually watch him. Kaz dozes on the lounge chair outside. At 12 p.m., Jim brings out a blanket and puts it over Kaz. He additionally goes to get his best cereal prize and keep it next to all her company. Kaz gets up in a little while and sees the toy close by. She gets a thought and uses the Pre's toys to make a scene on the glass window. When Jim awakens, he is upset to see his toys missing, however his disappointment disappears when he sees the workmanship Kaz has made. She lets him know that the landscape on the glass is her home. Yet, Jim actually claims that the apartment is her home also. She serenely explained to him that human beings shouldn't live with the cyborgs. Their home is outside. The next day at breakfast, Jim stows away from the cyborgs utilizing a plant. He then, furtively lets Kaz know there is a method for escaping the apartment. Like clockwork, an orderly with a cart gets through the main entrance. Kaz can hide inside the cart without him knowing and head outside. But since the cart just has space for one person, Jim will stay trapped in the museum. Kaz worriedly lets him know that he doesn't have a place here, however Jim claims that he is blissful, what's more, fulfilled. He gets some information about him and arrive at home securely. Around evening time, a cyborg shows up with a cart to top off the refrigerator. Kaz cautiously gets inside the cart and is taken outside secretly. The following day, the supervisor cyborg inquires as to whether he knows where the female human is, however Jim says he doesn't. In the following museum visit, the tour guide introduces a group of cyborgs with Jim. However, when the chair moves around, they see that Jim has attached a cyborg to it and has gotten away. At last, as we see Jim walk to a girl in a field that closely resembles the landscape Kaz had portrayed in her craft, Jim's captivity has a striking likeness to how animals in zoos, bazaars, and aquariums are dealt with. The film saves things in context for human on how it seems like to live away from your own thoughtful in a climate of fake immaculateness, albeit numerous watchers condemn the unexpected consummation. The special idea of the film in expansion to the message behind it makes the film in captivity advantageous. The end. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and like it to motivate me to bring you more stories like this.